Oh boy, howdy y'all.
Oh my god,
How
that
diddly
music
how
is
neighbor?
banging, just banging. I want it
One day,
in my
one day we'll
life
have music
every
of our own
day.
again.
One of these days.
One of these days. Bruh.
Hi, everybody. It's Josh from the Black Tower Podcast. I'm a Sora Von Mihail, as my jacket says.
That's
Andrew.
a lovely shirt, Andrew.
Fucking
Where
Bajan
did you
Mayo,
get
'cause-
that shirt?
Um,
From whom? From whomst did
eBay.
you receive such a glorious shirt?
eBay. No, I got it from Evermore Park at the Gathering Madness
What?
last year, 2023. It was a lot of fun. You should have been there. But you can come this year whenever we do it in October, and you can awoo all you want in person too.
That's a fact, Jack.
Right, Wednesday has been not Wednesday. March has been a freaking month already, man. In between sleeping,
Bro,
just being
I hear
busy and
ya.
stuff going on. I'm surprised I'm yawning. Normally, I'm not tired until like 11 or so, but oh,
Yeah, no, dude. So like the whole freaking week for me, like the last like 7 days have been so exhausting, and I don't know why. It's craziness.
yeah. I hurt because I've been hunched over the bike for 2 days.
Oh
So,
yeah.
well, a day in part because I didn't do that much yesterday. I got everything pretty much disassembled yesterday, and I got everything assembled today. After running around and searching through both my inside and outside trash cans 3 times because I thought I was missing a gasket that it turns out it never came with.
Crazy. My brother was
The
pretty
gasket's not
convinced
even on
that.
the part list.
Oh shit.
So maybe
My brother
this
was pretty
version doesn't
convinced
need
he
it.
needed a new clutch for his,
Mm.
and it turns out it was just some adjustments. Like his actual gears were just fine.
Oh, that's good. That's definitely a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now I got the new air cleaner put on, and I think by about 7 tomorrow will be the 24-hour mark where Loctite should be mostly cured. I don't know if I probably won't do anything with it because I got things to do here at the house tomorrow. So
Yeah.
it'll be like Thursday at the earliest before I can ride. But
That's probably going to be for me too, but mine's weather related. I've got like
yeah.
snow and ice and stuff.
Also, I mean, it's not horrible weather right now, but it's also not like necessarily ideal weather because the
Yeah.
lows all this week are like mid to high 40s, somewhat.
See, if you
But it's
tell
supposed to
me
get up into
it's
the
going to be
70s Saturday through Tuesday. So
yeah, and see, I was just going to say if you tell me it's going to be 60 or 70 in the afternoon, I'll put on a bigger coat for a
yeah.
morning ride to work and then stuff that coat in my backpack for on the way home and enjoy the ride.
Oh yeah, I'll still ride absolutely. But I don't do that much going around during the week anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
We
But
shall
the
indeed,
new
sir.
yeah, the new air cleaner has so much more open room in it. So, but we'll see. It should function better, but it'll also be kind of more cosmetic.
Love
Yeah,
it.
but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we're not a motorcycle podcast yet,
Not yet, anyway.
unfortunately. Like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, I went to the
We
dentist
are.
for the first time in like 6 years, if you count military dentists, like your annual checkup with the military dentist. They don't count, but if you do count them, it's been 6 years. If you don't count them, it's probably been more like 10. And the only thing I have is the tiniest of cavity that the dentist was like, "Yeah, it's super easy to fix. It'll be the easiest cavity fix I'll do for months, probably, or something like that."
Hell yeah.
That
Well done, sir.
next week, yeah, go and do
I'm
that
gonna
next
make out
week.
with you so hard next time I see you, just because I know your
They
mouth is
did
clean.
they did the full cleaning and everything today, and it felt so clean. Unlocked the childhood memory. You know the freaking paste they use when they do the polish part on your teeth,
Yeah.
and how it always tastes really good,
No.
or I think it tastes good. So maybe your dentist just uses like shitty polish. I don't know,
Maybe.
but I've always thought as a kid like it tastes good, and like that's the one thing at dentistry that hasn't changed. Like the place I go, like now they have like a little X-ray gun. So instead of like hooking, like making you sit and like bite on this little thing in front of this whole machine that moves around your head, they just like put a bit in your mouth, you bite down on it, and they just beep and get all your images. So I like this
all
place.
right.
Place is dope. So I'm happy I went.
Good
They gave
times.
me goodie bags and all that kind of stuff. But
Did they give you a Wowie Pop for being a good boy?
that was always a wild thing. The fucking like a dentist that would give out candy was like, what? Parents and other dentist hating children love him.
Children love him. What's his secret?
But,
Do you know
yeah.
who does not have dentists? Like at all?
A lot.
The
lot of
Black
people.
Tower. Black Tower has not a single dentist.
Yes, say that.
Not a one.
Yes, say that. But you know there was somebody like yanking out problem teeth with like flows of hair.
Can you imagine a dentist with like the one power just like open your mouth?
Could you imagine using like a flow of water to like
Just-
floss basically with, and then like you lose concentration and just fucking that would be horrible.
Oh snap. Wolf Brothers summing up why dentists are the worst.
No, in that case, the dentist is doing a good thing. The dentist is giving out the Eclipse glasses for free,
Oh,
while
wait,
the
I
eye
read
doctor's
that
charging
backwards.
$250. Yeah.
And then Commissioner Smack wants to know if we know the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yeah, give him a call and tell him to come and grab his top back from him.
No, I'm keeping it. It was a gift. No, but we are the Black Tower Podcast. We are here today to dispense your weekly dose of taint. And we have a fun, exciting episode for you tonight. If you want to support this channel, we do have a Patreon that is as cheap as less than $1 a month. You get access to our live action recordings like this one. Only you get to watch it when we're doing it, which is awesome. Also, as you go up in ranks, we give out stickers and merch and all kinds of fun stuff. So hell yeah, do the thing. If you're broke and you can't do that, that's totally cool too. Another easy way to support us, which is totally completely free, is to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and don't miss out on a single episode, because we got all the tainty goodness. We got all the tainty hot takes. All of them. Every single one of them. They're
Treat
ours.
us like crack, because it's addictive, maybe illegal, and we're always there when the plumbers are.
That's right.
We've been looking at the
That's
pipes.
right.
You know, your
I
voice.
did miss.
Your voice.
I did
We like
miss-
hearing your voice.
I did miss this. Wolf Brother did ask about the next Gathering Madness. Gathering Madness happens in October, and it is an annual celebration of the founding of the Black Tower.
Yeah. Normally, it's close to the 18th as we can get it, because that is the anniversary. This year, October 18th is on a Friday. So,
Ooh.
signs
Maybe
signs
that's the
count
day.
to possible. But we'll have more of that coming out like as we get it planned, because we've definitely
so
already
around
started that.
July, August.
We
is when
kinda
we're gonna
have,
start
but-
putting out info.
Yeah. It'll definitely be like late July into August when we start really doing stuff. After Jordan Con and WattCon and all the other cons, the ConCon, Kakani Con, the Karakana Con.
And the corn
What?
dog con.
let's go ahead and get a nice spoiler warning wrapped up on here so we can get this episode
We need a good
started.
spoiler warning for tonight.
Yeah, do you want one?
Give it to me,
On
Daddy.
your knees.
This episode contains spoilers from the entire Wheel of Time series.
If you have not read the series, you are at risk of being spoiled.
You
That's
have
right.
been warned.
You have been warned.
So it's a relatively short one this time because we're running behind tonight, this month, this week,
Yeah.
this everything. So
The
we're trying-
tank
we're gonna
comes
work
for
on
us
getting
all,
everything
ladies
back.
and gentlemen. Let that
we're
be a
gonna work on
lesson.
getting everything back on schedule. But you know who didn't have to really worry about getting anything back on schedule until it was already too messed up to matter? Randius Maximus, the Dragonus Rebornus.
Daddy Dragon. Daddy Dragon told us he was just going for milk and he'd be right back.
Bro, I wrestled with what the title of this episode because I would like title it one, and I'm like, nah, like I don't want anybody to sit there and like think about their childhood when they see the title and be like, yeah, no. Like then like I was thinking, I heard somebody say that like YouTube only really likes titles that are 50 characters or less, so that it doesn't get cut off in the ... or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
So like I was trying to keep it short too. I almost said like I almost put it as like what would have happened if Rand came back with the milk. So I put it in the description instead.
There you go. There you
So
go.
yeah, we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects, one of our near and dear to our heart subjects, the Black Tower.
That's right.
And another thing that we care about, though our experiences may differ with others, abandonment issues. As in when your founder shows up, says, here's the place, do the thing, or I will murder you. And then comes back like once after you've been selected to go and play for like the NFL, and now they're here for the.
Oh, that's right. He did come back once.
Yeah, he came back showing shiny trinkets, thinking that would make everything okay. Like that's the real reason Tam was pissed.
Sometimes you
fucking
send me a
pins.
birthday card with a $5 bill.
That's honestly the real reason. Tam was feeling alone. Not Tam. I mean, Tam probably was too.
Tam was too, yeah.
But Taim was feeling alone, thought he had found a new home, and that's what really turned him to the shadow.
Do you know? Okay.
It wasn't the greed,
let's
it
set
wasn't
the
the
stage.
lust for power, it was the abandonment.
Yeah. Let's set the stage here. So, beginning of Lord of Chaos, book 6. Rand issues an amnesty for men who can channel, which in the beginning seems kind of silly because even if you knew you could channel as a man, you wouldn't tell anybody, and you'd probably end up, cutting your lifeline short voluntarily.
I think part of the thought was by announcing it, it would make all of the people that were actually loyal to him and subjects of him, because he didn't like not rule anything by this time. I mean, he namely was basically sitting on the Lion Throne and the Sun Throne, I think, at this point. Because this is before he like abdicated Camelin back to Elaine. And
he was all snooty about it.
Yeah, and I mean, and when you're effectively the monarch of the single largest geographical nation, this side of the Dragon Wall and this side of the Aerith Ocean, that's a big land. That's a big amount of area where you're like, hey, look, we're not going to persecute you if you're a man that can channel. Come here, and we'll try to train you and save you so that you can at least put your life to use. And we're not going to put this in the recruitment flyer, but if you're already a little too far gone, we'll help you out.
Right.
So I think it might have been a thing where it's like starting a bit of the getting the subjects to stop being so hyper vigilant about, we got to find, like anytime we see a male channel, we got to get rid of them. They're so bad. So probably unintentionally. He definitely wasn't thinking that way about it.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing too is by declaring amnesty, he could rightfully entreat with Taim, who is one of the false dragons, one of the more famous false dragons, who squared off against Daddy Davram and actually was doing a good job against Daddy Davram.
Mm-hmm.
Without fear, without worrying that someone's going to attack him, kill him, arrest him, etc., etc.
There's also very conditional amnesty too. Like you only got the amnesty if you came to train and to be and prepare yourself to fight in the last battle.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we'll pardon you if you come and help us out. If not, then get bent.
What was I gonna say?
You were setting the stage. Rand announced the amnesty.
So he meets with Taim, right? He's already got the foundations for this set because he knows not only that Taim is capable tactically, he knows that Taim is a channeler, and he knows that Taim knows how to detect and has recruited other men who can channel, right? So
I mean, well, he knows Taim claims he can find and
yeah, I guess he's banking on it, right?
Yeah, he does. Rand doesn't know until he watches Taim test Dahmer Flynn for the first time, and then Rand's
right.
like, "Oh, he wasn't full of shit." All right, cool.
Well, and we've got this thing neat going too. What was that?
I said, "No, that's pretty neat."
Yeah. So we've got this, Taim and Rand meet, and Taim offers him one of the seals because, of course, he has one of the Dark One's seals. And they meet, and Rand says, "Okay, here, let me show you this little farmhouse I have." And out there at this farm are already a handful of people, one of them being Dahmer Flynn. And Taim says, "Okay, well, yeah, first we got to test them and make sure that they can channel." And Rand is like, "Okay, like, show me what's up." And right there in that moment, you start seeing the dick measuring contest between Rand and Taim. Because Taim even like looks at him and is like, "Oh, you don't know how to do this?" Well, I suppose I'll show you. And it's like, bro, like, why you gotta be a dick? He just literally let you off the hook for your life, your actual life. And so they go out, they do the testing, and Rand says, "Cool, you got this?" And Taim is like, "I mean, yeah." And Rand is like, "Cool, I'm gonna start sending you people, and I need you to build me, an organization of men who can channel." And Taim is like, "In a year, I can match the White Tower for numbers." And he's like, "Cool."
Well, he also kind of thinks he's full of shit because he's like, "There's not that many male channelers." That's bravado talking.
Also true.
Yeah, and he kind of does the whole like, if you're so confident you can do all this, and there's that many channelers, but yet you somehow don't already have an army of them yourself. Fine, do it then. I challenge you.
Yeah. Well, and
using a bit of the old hubris against Taim, I think, in that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that Rand already has Bashir has a recruiting plan in place to where he's going to gather up people who want to fight in the last battle, who want to support Rand, and he's going to send all of them through the Black Tower so that all of them can be tested before they head on to, I want to say it's outside of Camelin, where they've got all the camps for the Dragon Legion. And so Rand gets Taim, says, "Hey, start training these guys how to channel." Taim is like, "Yep, I got you, fam." And then Rand like bounces, like bye. That's it. He leaves. He's gone. He comes back like once. And this whole time, Taim kind of goes, cool. It's me. I am in charge. I am going to do the thing. And we've had discussions on Taim and some of his motivations and what we suspect are some of his motivations. So we don't need to necessarily get into that right now. But one of the things that I absolutely love is that they show up and Taim, these people start showing up and Taim starts sending out recruiting parties and they start getting all these Asha'man, and Taim comes up with an extremely strict training regiment. From day one, if you can't, he says, if you can't light a fire, you eat cold food. Yeah. All chores and all tasks are to be done with the one power.
Yeah. You can't
even
wash
when you're
your
not
clothes in your ass with the one power or heat the water, then you either take cold baths and showers or you smell like
exactly. And if you are not doing anything, you should be holding the power to the brim as much as you can at all times. And the idea with that being you are the master of Saidin, not the other way around. And I even think he wants to weed out the people who are going to go mad quickly. So he develops a very strict training regimen for these guys. Like right off the bat.
Well, it's very much there's a certain country that's happened to do it now, and I'm not going to name them, but when you're running low on people for the fight, you really condense down and harshen up your combat training for troops.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I've got no time to do this. I mean, there are troops hitting a current battlefield somewhere in the world that are getting 3, maybe 4 weeks of training and then being thrown into open armed conflict. Because of the need of people. And that's pretty much what Rand has insinuated to Taim. Definitely not Tam. Yeah. And Taim has taken it upon himself to just like go full tilt into this as much as he can. He's like, I'm gonna prove to you not only can I do everything I said I did, but I can do it fast and efficiently and better than you. Until his ulterior motives make themselves known or come out or available, or the abandonment issues really sit in. Old Mazerum.
Yeah. No,
But,
and that's I think part of what gets me. So we've got this whole thing set up. It becomes this monster, and it's relatively minor in the story for the first 9-10 books. Like a couple of characters pop up here and there, and they do some pretty cool things, right? But for the most part, the actual physical location of the Black Tower, or at this point in time as it's being called as the Old Farm, is you don't really visit there a lot. You know that they're recruiting, you know that they're working on stuff, and then that's just kind of like eh. And Rand comes back, and
yes, back
he wants like a review, right? He wants
Rand is back. Tell your friends.
Rand is back.
Dragons back. Dragons back. Dragons back. Dragons back.
So Rand comes back. He says, okay, hey, I need to check and see your progress. And he's amazed at how much the tower has grown, right? Like he's like, whoa, I had no idea that there were this many people here.
He looks at Taim and he's like, who told you to build a wall? Why is it not gold? All right.
And why are you paying for it? Why is Tarvalon not paying for it?
I think he like shows up with the bags of things he's gonna give him, And he's like, yeah, this will surely be more than enough. And then he immediately goes like, ah, shit, I need more.
Doesn't he like give Taim the blacksmith or the smith's name who made him though, so he could go
I
get
think
more?
he does. Like, hey, like here's this and here's some coin, or like
Yeah.
when you need more, send off for him. Blah 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 blah.
So Rand is like, this seems a bit harsh, don't you think? Because Taim is like training him, and he's like, the White Tower has 1,000, 3,000 year head start on us. Like, we've got to figure this out, and we got to figure it out now, especially if you say that the last battle is coming any day now. Like,
And he's also like throws
around.
the like the dick jab at Rand and is like, well, you said to build that you needed
Yes.
weapons.
You
So
needed
I treat
weapons.
them like that's the thing. Rand says, make me weapons. And Taim
Yep.
goes, cool. They're not people anymore. They are weapons. And that's the first thing. Like, that's what all of his training is. Like, hold it and hold the power and do everything with it. You're not a person. You are a vessel of Sidene. Nothing more. And you better hope you never become less. Because if you become less, have a sip.
That exactly. Well, and Rand even says, he asks about losses. He's like, so? And Taim is like, we lose this many to burning out. We lose this many to, to accidental gentling. And we lose this many to madness. And Rand asks Taim how he's handling the madness. And Taim is like, we put a little something in their wine and they don't wake up. And Rand is horrified.
Oh, yeah.
He is absolutely horrified. He is not happy with that at all. And then Taim is like, okay, but what would you have me do?
Insert the gif of the doctor from Django drinking from the beer. It's like a reward.
It's like a reward.
You tried, now sleep. That's what he
Yeah.
says. Like, he's basically like, well, if we don't do that, they're a danger to not just the world, but here. So a danger to the manufacturing process. That's what it is. It's a manufacturing
Yeah.
process, not a training
Yeah.
process. It's like, and like, it's a mercy for them because Taim is like,
Yes.
I've watched people lose their minds completely to the taint, and it's not pretty.
Which kind of gives us our first sort of, I'd say, valid splintering between the alliance between Rand and Taim. Because at this point in time, this is Taim's baby. Yes, Rand issued an amnesty, and yes, they exist on the authority of the dragon to fight for the dragon at the end of the at the last battle at Tarmangaiden.
At the
But
end of
this is Taim's baby.
The thing.
Yeah. Taim has organized this. Taim has trained these people. He even came up with the black coats, if I'm not mistaken. He was the one who instituted the black coats and was like, this is how we're going to, differentiate ourselves from the rest of the world. We will wear black coats.
Yeah.
Rand shows up and is just mortified by his training methods. And Taim is like, bitch, you asked me to do a thing. I'm doing the thing. You bounced. Don't get all pissy with me because you don't like how I'm doing what you asked me to do. Don't get pissy with me because you don't understand what needs to be done in order to accomplish the objective that you assigned to me. And
didn't Taim also sorry, I was thinking about the black coat thing.
yeah.
Or I can come back to it.
You're good.
Okay. Didn't he institute that like during like spring and summer, like when it was getting hot, as like an incentive?
Yes.
Like, this is what you will wear, and if you don't want to sweat through it and then have all this extra laundry and just be miserable, option one, just be better and wear finer materials like silk, like Taim does.
Yes.
Or master the art of like the Aes Sedai style serenity, but for Asha'man, where you just think hard enough and you don't sweat.
I'll never forget the passage of the story when Nynaeve and Egwene and Elaine find out that the temperature, the temperature thing is just a trick of the mind. It has absolutely nothing to do with the power, and
Yeah,
all of
like-
them are pissy about it.
Like, when are we gonna learn the air conditioning weave? The what? There isn't one. It's like, what do you mean there isn't one? It's like, oh, you just have to believe that you're not hot.
If you believe it hard enough,
Yeah.
you just won't sweat.
You can trick your body into not doing one of the most crucial things it can do for temperature regulation.
You'll still die of heat exposure. So, you know,
You just have to
keep
will
that in
yourself
mind.
to not die. Like, you have to will your blood to not dry out into like a freaking slurry.
Ha! Die? That is the last thing I shall do.
My blood moves because I will it so.
So Rand, after his shocking tour of the farm grounds, but also like kind of impressive. So like scary but impressive but scary. The Illuminators Guild is here.
Well, yeah.
If
If I die, at least I'll be sweat free.
She died. What is that smell? Fresh daisies. Yes. Yes, it is.
You may not be sweaty, but you will soil yourself.
Sorry, that one. Can't stop that one.
Yeah.
So Rand is like, okay, good job, Taim. He's still like real uneasy about it, and by this time he's absolutely insane. And so Luz Theron is in his mind screaming, kill them all, kill them all, kill them all. Rand is like, shut up, you. And he goes in, and I love the description because it talks about Rand pulling out the dragon pin and the sword pin, and he's like, hey, look. When they come to the Black Tower, they are soldiers. Well, he refuses to call it the Black Tower. He doesn't like the name, the Black Tower, right?
Yeah, because he's like, oh, it makes it sound like I'm in opposition to the White Tower, and I really don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got something Luz Theron inside of him that's like, their abominations kill them all, but also he's got a mandate from the Snakes and Foxes that if he doesn't have everyone united, everyone, then the forces of the dark will win, the Shadow Spawn will win at the last battle, and we simply can't have that. He sits Taim down, says, hey, you're doing a great job. I've got a present for you. And this is that, Dad came back after 5 years and was like, hey, I got a present for you, slugger. And it's a $10 bill. And then he leaves again.
Taim is expecting something like wealth, a land bequest, a title,
whole bunch
of full on, like,
maybe.
Yeah, just something incredible. Because Taim before this was on the track in his mind to be the most important person in the world.
Yeah.
And then found out he's not actually the main character. So he tried to be one of the main character's best friends. And much like Misty from the original Pokemon, eventually just got snubbed and was like, I don't fucking like this group anymore. I'm going back to the ocean.
Oh, shit. I love it.
Look it up. She was the first one they got rid of. They didn't replace Brock first.
It's true. It's true. You're not wrong. So Rand pulls out his little bag of tricks, pulls out a dragon pin and a sword pin, and he says, okay, when they show up, they're soldiers. They're just soldiers. Anyone in the Dragon's Legion is a soldier. They're just soldiers. But when they graduate the first time, they're going to graduate to be dedicated, meaning they're dedicated to the tower. And they'll put this sword pin on their collar. And Taim is like, what the fuck? And Rand is like, and then when they graduate to the highest
what that
rank,
point is. He's like, at a point of your choosing, Taim, you will give them this.
And then he says, and then with the highest tier, we'll give them the dragon pin to go on the other side of the collar, and they'll become, Asha'man, which means guardians of all. Or guardians. Or protector or something. I can't remember. Taim is pissed.
Yeah, it's just Guardian.
Yeah, Taim is pissed. Taim is livid. And I always remember reading these sections going, why is Taim mad? Like, he's been given legitimacy and validity from the dragon. And I think that's the problem. I don't think he wants legitimacy from someone else, least of all someone he hates. I think he is trying so hard to carve out his own legacy that being given any kind of authoritative legacy or any kind of authoritative legitimacy is insulting to him. He doesn't want it.
You know what? It's like being ordered by a superior in the military to do a job that they should be doing, but they basically just hand it off to you. They don't help or anything at all. And then once it's done, there's all this praise for what happened. You only get Airman of the Quarter. So you get maybe a plaque or a certificate and a pat on the back saying, oh, good job. And they get a commendation and a promotion.
Yes.
It's like that kind of disdain. So it's like you get a certificate of appreciation at work for doing a project. And then the person who made you do the project or pass it off to you that should have been doing it gets promoted for your work. So like they get like a $10 an hour raise in a corner office, and you get a certificate of appreciation that's like literally
and a pizza party.
Yeah. He literally just gave Taim the dragon equivalent of a gold and silver star.
He coined him.
yeah. I think even coining would have been better. At least there's tradition behind it. There's no fucking tradition behind this.
Rand then pins them on Taim in front of everyone and says, Taim is the first Asha'man ever. Yay. And I feel like Taim is standing there in front of everyone being like, dude, you haven't been here. You don't know what we're doing here. You don't get to come in and assert any kind of authority because you're not here. Your fancy title of dragon does not give you any authority when you're not in. And how many of us have this similar kind of I'd say it's about the same as Stanley Nichols.
If Taim is the exchange that you're using, then the pins are worth about 0.2 troop bucks.
Troop bucks.
Right.
And all I could see is Dwight Schrute in an Asha'man jacket. Which weave is best?
Bro, it's literally the scene where Jim shows up like dressed as Dwight and keeps fucking with him. That's
Banners
Rand.
Beats Battlestar Galactica.
That's literally fucking Rand. And then he was just sitting there being like, what the fuck? No, it's so shitty because like at this point, everybody already calls Taim Mahale. They already call him leader. They're like, you're in charge. You're our boss. We know you. And then a guy they've only heard of, never ever seen, shows up and looks at Taim and says, oh, you've done exactly what I've told you, and you're doing great things. You deserve something shiny. I'll give him jewelry. Channelers love jewelry.
The channelers love jewelry. Oh, and then again, Rand bounces, and I don't think.
Fuck, I'm so much on Taim's side. The more we talk about this,
the more we talk, right?
It's such a juvenile move. Like it's something that literally sounds like a child thought it was a good idea, and that it wouldn't be.
You know what it is?
Insulting.
Taim is literally that crusty sergeant with all the experience, and Rand is literally the fucking shiny butter bar who hasn't proven shit. Who comes up and tells the crusty sergeant, I want you to do it like this. And the crusty sergeant's like, do you have any idea what you just asked me to do?
Haim is the sergeant major from We Were Soldiers, and Rand is the guy that keeps
Yes.
telling him like "Good morning" or
Sergeant Major
"Beautiful weather."
Plumley.
Yeah, and then the dude keeps
Ah.
walking by him. Is like, "Good morning." How do you know what kind of goddamn morning it is? Beautiful weather today,
Beautiful
Sergeant
weather.
Major. What are you, the fucking weatherman?
now? That is exactly the energy of this exchange. Oh my god. And so then Rand again fucks off. He's gone. I don't think he ever comes back to the Black Tower after that. Not once.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. In fact,
And-
every interaction that they have with Rand after then, they come to him.
They come to him. That's right. Logain leaves to look for him and brings a contingent of Asha'man with him. Because that's the other thing. When he finds Logain, he says, "There's a farmhouse out in the countryside out near Camelin. You should go check it out, buddy.
It's near Camelin. Just go near Camelin.
It's
That's
over
good enough
there.
directions.
In yonder bits over there."
I mean, it is
And-
close. It's less than 2 leagues. Whatever. I
Yeah.
forgot how much a league is, but it is close.
Can you
But
imagine how pissed off Elaine is going to be in the Fourth Age when they start erecting a huge fucking tower? It's going to be visible. No, but Rand carries around a contingent of Asha'man, Narishma, and was it Dom or Flynn? Yeah, Narishma and Flynn.
There was another
And
one, like
then-
something like Gray or something like that, I think.
Grady and Neld
Grady,
go with
that's it.
Perrin.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
And no, you're good. So
Well, I mean,
you've got,
I don't really think Perrin does anything, so I think of Asha'man names, and I think they must be doing something, so I never put them with Perrin.
well, hey. The Black Tower was there for the forging of Mahalanir. And
yeah, well,
that's one of the best scenes in the book, and it's a Perrin scene. So
is it really though? Is what
Yes.
he's doing remarkable, or is what
Yes.
the Asha'man are doing remarkable?
yes. All.
Because Perrin's
all
just
of it.
doing Perrin's
The
doing
whole
the same shit he always did.
But that's why it's such a gorgeous scene, though. He's
I didn't say
literally
it wasn't a good scene. I said is what Perrin is doing is his part of it. Anything remarkable?
Yes.
I don't
And here's why. He is in such a deep moment of Zen that he is literally pounding a hammer to the nub, sending sparks that are burning the entire top of the hill that they're on. And he's just in his zone, just like ting, ting. And it's his Taviran pull that shows everybody around them, hey, because it's I think it's Neld that starts it, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I don't know. It feels
right.
We have a talent. We find out later. He's got a talent for metallurgy, but as we know about the nature of Taviran, he had a talent for metallurgy because Perrin needed him to have a talent for metallurgy.
Yeah.
Like that. That's how that works.
Well, I mean,
So-
what I'm getting at is like Perrin has been a blacksmith. Is he super focused? Yes. Is he showing the full breadth of his abilities and talent as a blacksmith, especially after a kind of often? Well, no, he has been recently like practicing again because he would go and forge to kind of clear his mind. And
Yeah.
now that Fayo could, mostly to his face, but sometimes behind his back, run everything, he could focus more on doing his own shit because he's peasant turned royalty now. But
Yeah.
it's it's the act in and of itself, while really cool and everything for a blacksmith and everything, isn't anything like uniquely special in the world. Like the whole
can see that.
totality of it is. Don't get me wrong, I'm just absolutely minimizing the shit out of Perrin's role in Mahalanir. It's an incredible scene. It's an incredible moment.
See what,
But
I
the
can
only
see how
incredible
you come
people
to that
in it are
conclusion.
the channelers around. Perrin's just
Yeah.
doing what he's always done, and it's just the fruition of his efforts. Now,
I see.
being able to
I see how you
blacksmith
come to that
until you like
conclusion.
literally like wear a hammer down to the nub. Okay, I think that's a fair point. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like most people can't even keep a pencil until it's like down to a nub. Yeah, I can't. Shit.
I cannot. But this move, where I was going with this move immediately does something that we criticize the White Tower for not doing, which is sending people into the world to be a part of the world, to be a part of the discussion, to be a part of the struggle, to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people that they should be, Aes Sedai, servant of all. Okay, well, who are you serving? Not the people. And
it's no accident that it's ivory white tower. I mean, it's not made of ivory, but the whole, like, you stand in your ivory tower looking down on the peasants.
Yeah, exactly.
And Leandrin's
And
definitely and your point.
So you've got Taim, who's on the surface is doing everything right, and Rand is a chihuahua. Rand is the micromanager who isn't even really that great at micromanaging. Like, he showed up once and been like, I don't like how you're doing it. And Taim was like, how would you have me do it? And he's just like, no, you're good. Then why say anything at all? Which, by the way, if you're a manager who does that, fuck off. Seriously.
If you're a person
who comes up to someone just to tell someone they're doing something wrong, stop. Get help. Nothing is more annoying than that. Nothing. Well, maybe a couple things, but still.
I mean, in general, yeah, super fucking annoying.
Now Taim has a problem. After he's presented with the pins, he has another problem. And that problem is that he needs to put his name on it again. He had his signature on it. He had his name on it when he started recruiting people and came up with the uniform. Cool. He says, now this is Mazrim Taim's army. Rand comes back in, says, I like the coats, put some pins on them. And he's like, shit. Now he's got to differentiate himself again. So he introduces the rank structure. He calls himself the Mahale. He comes up with two other ranks, the Sorovan Mahale and the Bajan Mahale. And they're all based in the old tongue. They all basically are some variation of the word leader. And this is where things kind of start getting dark at the Black Tower, because we start learning that Taim has started recruiting within the tower for the Shadow.
You know what I think it is? I think at this point that Taim, very much like we've talked, like you said earlier, Taim viewed the tower, the farm, whatever, as his child. It felt and essentially was entirely his. It was something that would bring glory to his name, something he was in charge of ruling over, essentially, with the backing of a very powerful kind of noble, without being checked at all. And Rand comes in and completely PP smacks that, negates it. And I think at that moment it becomes clear to Taim that as long as the dragon exists, not only will he not have full control of what's happening here like he thought he did, but he will forever be stuck in a shadow of somebody that doesn't seem to understand or care the effort put into it. Other than maybe Ishii, I think actually Mazrim Taim may have the best reasoning for returning to the shadow. Because I think it's about this point where he takes in, like, really goes, okay, if this is how it's going to be, then I'm going to, like, swift kick you from behind in the balls, and I'm going to play you for the opposing team.
See, okay, but you say that, but who else does that sound like? Because of his jealousy over Luz Theron, he joined the Shadow. That's literally every Forsaken.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's jealousy over Rand. I think it's like a realization that he will forever. I mean, yeah, the being in the shadow part could be, but I don't think it's like, it seems initially like Taim didn't initially really, after being shown to be a false dragon, was already like, I'm not going to outshine the dragon reborn.
Right.
But I want something of note to contribute. I think that's why he came to Rand in the first place. Because he's like, I may not be the guy, but I still want to be a guy. And the best way to do that is to go and try to help. And he does all this. He makes enormous progress doing exactly what was asked for him with the full freedom he was given, only to be treated like, what we would think of as a kindergartner and essentially given, oh, you get a gold star for your efforts. Good job.
Sure.
And you also get like kind of, in his mind at least, undermined and demeaned. And I think unintentionally that's what actually happened. Because Rand, despite all of his Darthness and all of his running around and experience of being around nobles and ruling, still very much doesn't quite get it, especially the intricacies of the military structure.
Sure.
Maybe if he wasn't still so averse to letting the maidens actually fight, he would get it a little bit more. But like
That's the truth.
I'm not saying he was right, and I don't
Sure.
think this was enough. And I think there was more. I think it was a combination of temptation from the Shiva, aka the Forsaken. Fuck, not Damodred, because that was the other theory, but
No, it was Balthamel.
Balthamel.
No,
yeah.
Agenor.
Agenor. Yeah.
No,
I think that
that was Balthamel. Agenor was
no Balthamel was
Halima.
the reborn Balthamel, because Balthamel like dies.
yeah, Balthamel and Agenor die in the end of the Eye of the World and come back as Osengar and Arengar.
Yeah. So who was it? Was it Arengar or Osengar?
I can't. Agenor is the one who came back as a woman. So I'm pretty sure Deshiva was Balthamel.
Yeah, Osengar.
Osengar.
Yeah. So I think that played a big part, but I think it was like a 50-50 mix. I think it was
Sure.
the allure and temptation of Osengar as the Shiva doing stuff and like, doing the probably little subtle questioning things here mixed with I think Rand was the straw that broke Taim's back. I think Taim was holding on to this will be my place in history. I'm fighting with the dragon. I'm fighting for what's right. This feels good. Some of this sucks, but we have a real shot here. He saw how incredible it was turning out, only to have Rand show up, overshadow him, negate his authority, and kind of kick him in the balls, all while apparently not even realizing it.
You're just not even that important.
Yeah. And playing it off like, oh, you should be glad I gave you this scrap of attention.
Yeah.
So
no, I can see that. I still think
I kind of get it, but also like we get to see Time stuff in pseudo real time.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to see like Ishii or anybody else that's just like Samael or anybody else in real time.
Yeah.
And I might have felt the same way then. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I understand.
I don't like it. I don't accept it, but I understand it. And I gotta say, I gotta slightly disagree with you on this one, because I still feel very much like Taim had an ambition, and once he recognized that he would never meet that ambition because of Rand, he switched teams, and it was very much a situation in which Rand, I very much agree with what you were saying about how Rand is the straw that broke the camel's back. Taim obviously had ambitions from the very beginning. Rand was handing him a one-way ticket to glory, and what happened was his greed in his ambition. Ambition is not a bad thing. Greedy ambition is. And Taim had some greedy ambition. And once he realized that he, like you said, he would never outshine Rand, or he would never surpass Rand, he switched teams, because the only way to surpass him would be to defeat him, which is literally the story of Samael.
So you think like for Taim that from the start he wanted to be bigger than Rand?
Yes.
And that's what he was gunning for. Okay. I think that's like, yeah, that ultimately means that we like disagree on why things happen. But everything else besides like what his ambition was for and when that may have changed or altered, everything else like we would agree on. Like the methodology we agree on, just not the conclusion.
Yeah.
Because my thing is like,
Yep.
I feel like once you think you're the Dragon Reborn, like Time did, and that gets ripped away from you so resoundingly and clearly that I think that breaks a lot of what you thought about yourself and forces you to reevaluate, especially when not
Yeah.
only do you know there's the real dragon, but you meet and start working for him. So
Yep. And that's that's just it right there. That's the whole crux of the problem right there, is that the dark one loves a good weakness to exploit. And Rand at this point in time is, I mean, we've compared him to Napoleon Dynamite. He's making a lot of mistakes. He's not the brightest crayon in the box, especially at this point in time. He's kind of arrogant, he's kind of cocky, and he's kind of like, yeah, do what I say because I say it, because I'm the dragon, which is the equivalent of, why do I have to do this? Because I said so.
yeah.
And nobody likes that. Everybody hates that.
I think the weakness exploit was, more along the lines of yeah, that wasn't right. Yeah, you deserve your place in history. You know what? If you fight with us, not only can we put you, like, make sure you have your place in history, but we will make sure that you're in a place in history above Rand Althor for what he did to you. Because that's an easy selling point. The dragon is only incredible in history if he wins.
That's true.
You fight with us, you turn all of your soldiers away from him and for us, he's not going to win. You will be remembered as the one that did that, Mahale.
I even love when Shaidar Haran is yelling at the Forsaken because they're all getting snippy about Taim, and they're like, what's he doing here? He doesn't belong here. And Shaidar Haran is like, well, let's see. You're responsible for several of our deaths. You fucked off. You haven't done anything. You've been hiding. You haven't done anything. You fucked off. You haven't done anything. What has he done? Built an army of channelers for the Dark One.
While
and all of them are like,
making the force of the light weaker.
And, yeah. And everybody was like, oh, okay, well, fine.
It was like the one unifying thing was that he was new blood, and everybody was like, yeah, no, that's not cool.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're adding somebody to the band? We didn't agree to this.
You can't put him on
signed
the roster.
Contract.
Sign the contract, big boy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in the last couple of minutes, I guess we have kind of the question we posed for this is like, what would be the change or difference, if any, ultimately, had Rand not abandoned the Black Tower? I mean, the obvious answer is a lot of the shit that he goes out and just happens to do either doesn't happen or it all happens in the same spot in Camelin now.
Yeah.
So,
God, there's so many big directions to this question. Taim, I don't think ever would have had the freedom to just openly recruit people the way he did, meaning those efforts would have been hindered. B, all the other shit that Rand was doing, literally not sleeping for days because he's organizing and things like that, wouldn't have gotten done. Because the fact of the matter is, he can't have been at the tower. I know we make a lot of jokes about Dad leaving to the store and never coming back, but he couldn't. He did not have the bandwidth to do this. He needed someone. And he even says in Lord of Chaos, he says, I need someone to do this. I can't do it. And they're like, yeah, but this guy? And he's like, you got someone better in mind? Do you know anybody else who can channel? And they're like, no.
You know somebody else that can channel and find other channelers? I didn't think so.
I didn't think so. And so even Rand is even, not 100% sold on this guy. He just doesn't have any other choice. And the third final major impact, I think the Black Tower itself never would have gained its own independent legitimacy, right? The war, the battle at the Black Tower, in which you've got essentially Logain versus Time, like that right there is a real coming into ourselves moment where the Black Tower stands up and says, we stand for the light, we fight for the dragon. And they cut out their cancers. And yeah, are they severely weakened in numbers? Yeah. But their resolve is strengthened. So we like to make fun of Rand fucking off, but in the end, that's really the only way it could have gone down and been successful. That is my final thoughts on the impact of Rand's presence or lack thereof at the Black Tower.
Yeah. I agree that I think it did work out for the best. I think that had Rand
Obviously,
stayed,
because they won.
I mean, had Rand stayed, he would have still undermined and brought into question Taim's like leadership, which would have, I think, bred the same resentment, which would have made the same vulnerability. I think we wouldn't have seen Demise Wells. I think we would have seen the farm instead of Demise Wells to a degree, because I don't think, if he's in the middle of a bunch of male challengers, I don't think the Aes Sedai would have captured him and put him in a box. It probably would have been Rand on the table eventually trying to get turned. True. And then who knows, maybe the Rebel Tower shows up and rescues him, or with Perrin or whatever, just kind of flipping things around, but ultimately the same ultimate effect where us mixed with the day-to-day voice of Luce there and saying, you got to kill them all. Why are we here? Kill them all. Finally breaking in.
We should do a theory episode where we talk about Rand staying at the Black Tower.
Yeah, we can do that. I have to change the description for this episode. That was the initial thought for this episode, but honestly, we could do it as a follow-up for this one.
Let's do it as a follow-up. So if you guys like what you've heard here tonight, tune in, because we're going to talk about it again. And if we missed something that you find particularly interesting about this discussion, you know what to do. Leave a comment in the section down below and let us know how wrong you think we are. Just really give it to us, man. Give it to us raw. Don't lube it. Just
raw, unfiltered, uncensored.
Fuck it up in there, dude. Fuck us up, fam.
For 3 easy installments of $14.99, you can get all 20 discs of Black Tower Goes Raw.
'Cause I'm your lady.
That's definitely not the direction I was going in, but...
And you are my taint.
That was impressive, sir.
I got you. North Harbor approved. Yeah. Love it.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for us for this episode. If you're a patron, this week you're only going to get a couple days extra of early access, and or if you were listening live, you already got it. But you can get it again when it goes live on Patreon. Because this episode will be coming out this Friday, and that's how true. Episodes will kind of be until we get them. We get caught back up to where we usually are. If you want the most,
be Jordan Comp.
Yeah, if you want the most up-to-date information as things change, by all means, join our Discord. You can find it on our website, blacktowerpod.com. Join the Discord. Shop for merch if you want any of it, or even if you don't, it's a great gift to give somebody else who doesn't have to look at it every day if you really don't want it, I guess. I don't know. Do whatever you want. All of our stuff is there, but for both of us here at the Black Tower Podcast, I have been your not turned by Jean Mahale Andrew.
And I have been your totally not a dark friend, Josh. And we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for listening. We thank you for enjoying this week's Dose of Taint. And wherever you are, we hope you leave here just a little bit more insane than you were when you first started.